All right, then you
Five.
have to-
They reduced already.
that guy with a haircut.
Let's see, okay, so then, okay, so how do we want to do the alternate then?
Start by swearing then. Yeah.
So we have
Okay.
like a-
Call to order, and then we'll swear in existing members, new members, and then we'll do a roll call, and then we'll continue on. And I think it's fine. I'm gonna try really hard, and I hope anybody will stop if I start saying a name that should not vote, at least for this first time.
But who's gonna be the voting alternate tonight?
Oh, I don't know.
Is, I guess,
I don't
the
know who
question.
decides that.
I mean, I can look at the code, but I feel like the answer is not gonna be in here.
It's not. That's why I think before we did it, whoever was first. But we have two that are appointed at the same time, so that's why I thought the letter, not even knowing when they submitted or that was just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, you could even flip a coin.
Or is
I would
it
just pick something and stick to it.
Or alternate back and
just
forth.
Yeah, alternate. back and
Okay,
forth.
I'm cool with
My
that.
understanding, and I don't know how much it matters, but my understanding when I joined the board, not that I read it anywhere, nobody told me what's up. I understood like it was like whoever was first gets a first position.
So like whoever submitted their letter of intent first,
Yes,
Kirby Jefferson.
Or are you thinking appointed?
no,
One
when
before
they
the
send
other.
the letter of
Okay.
interest.
Okay. Is that how we did it
Because I
then?
think that's what it was, and I think it was another person, and that's how I became the first one to,
When there was
Come
an
here.
alternate then?
No.
Right, okay.
and I feel like maybe to just keep doing the same way, unless we
Yeah.
wanna make it.
Yep, and we can do that for now and then research it.
I would just pick one and then stick with it until like you really feel like it needs to change, but if that's the system, then that's the system.
Well, I might not be up here in a few minutes, so let's continue.
You should be so lucky.
Well, I mean, we got an election new chair, so.
We can't all decline.
Okay, we're ready? Okay, I'll call to order the planning commission meeting for Wednesday, March 6th, 2024. Roll call?
Sorry, I can't edit events
Oh,
for you.
sorry,
No roll call.
not roll call.
Swearing, we'll commence with the swearing in, shall we?
Okay.
Okay, so Cindy, will you come to the podium for me?
Oh, I
please?
have to do that?
Yes,
Oh.
new term. I'll just have you say. Oh, okay. Yes. I, Cindy Olson, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Planning Commission member for the city of Idaho Springs, upon which I'm about to enter. I do. Excellent. Congratulations. Will you sign this one, please? Right here.
No, you don't have to go up there. No. Oh, did you have to get sworn in? I don't think so. I was last year. I was last year.
I don't think we've ever done
I don't remember doing that.
I, Ursula Kusalagui, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Planning Commission member for the city of Idaho Springs, upon which I'm about to enter. Excellent. Yay. That's it, right? Signature signing. Thank you. Thank
You gotta
you.
go down the third.
Please raise your right hand. I, Don Reimer, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Planning Commission member for the city of Idaho Springs, upon which I'm about to enter.
I do.
Excellent.
Yay.
Good night, turn.
Right here. Here we go. Well, Dan.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for your service. I, Jefferson, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Planning Commission member for the city of Idaho Springs, upon which I'm about to enter. Welcome, welcome to planning. Okay. I, Katie Maxwell, do solemnly declare and affirm that I will support and uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the state of Colorado, and the laws and ordinances of the city of Idaho Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of Planning Commission member for the city of Idaho Springs, upon which I'm about to enter. Welcome to planning. Awesome, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, good. Okay, now roll call.
Don Reimer,
Here.
Chuck Howard,
Present.
Ursula Kruzalugui,
Here.
Kent Slaymaker, Cindy Olson,
Here.
Katie Maxwell.
Here.
Jefferson Leach.
Here.
Litch. Am I saying it right? Litch.
Litch, yep.
Thank you.
All good.
Okay. thank you.
I'm glad I know the only hard last name now.
Okay, approval of the agenda. Do you want a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Oh. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Approval of the minutes from January 10th, 2024.
I approve them. Make a motion to approve them.
Second.
Any corrections?
A lot of reading. I have one complaint. I think that was in the minutes, the part about the, you're not allowed to, kill your own chickens. I don't think that's how it works. What do you do if the chicken gets sick or he's old? You take him to Safeway, see if they want to buy him or something, you know? I mean, they've always done that.
I was a little confused. Didn't we have a meeting in February?
There was no regular meeting.
Oh,
It was
okay.
just a work session.
That's right. Okay.
So anyway, that's it. I think other than that, it's fine.
Okay, any corrections?
I don't think I said it happens in the streets in Peru. I think it's in markets, but I think this is very funny, so you can leave it.
Okay. I'll leave it.
Oh, I know, I kind of chuckled. But I didn't. It's like, okay. For those that weren't there, which she was questioning was the word slaughtering.
I was like, why can't we eat our own chickens? I mean,
Yeah,
that makes sense to me, but I guess it's not a thing.
Yeah,
Doesn't
because the
work.
word slaughter was in there and she's like, well, we do that in the streets. of Peru."
No, in the streets, in the markets,
The
come on,
markets.
people.
I mean, I don't like to do it. That's not how to kill one. My brother-in-law, who's deceased now,
Okay.
came over and did it, so.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Any conflict of interest in the audience? So what we do for conflict of interest for you guys is we give a few minutes if there's somebody attending the meeting that's not on the agenda that wanted to bring something up. We don't get into discussion or anything. They just can, no,
Oh, public
Sorry.
comment.
Yeah.
public comment. I'm sorry. I'm talking public comment. We let them get the chance to speak. And then the conflict of interest is if any of us have a conflict of interest, but it has to be what, Nick, if it's a financial.
Yeah, like
or-
if it directly benefits you, if you were voting on like the award of the contract or something like that, where you would financially benefit from it. For example, Uchi had, when we had the school district late last year, she told me she was a school district employee, but that's not really a conflict of interest because approving a school district development doesn't directly benefit Uchi in any capacity.
So if any questions on it, we can refer to Nick during the meeting. Okay, staff update.
I don't have any requests for action right now. We approved a certificate of appropriateness at the Historic Preservation Review Commission in February at 1835 Minor Street, which is the old Opera House building for exterior work. And otherwise, it's just kind of business as usual, still learning the ropes of all the nuances of the code.
And then if you've noticed in your packets, Dylan puts in the one that gives all the types of things that are going on. And feel free if you do have a question on any of them, but we don't usually go line by line through them unless there's a question. Or if it's something, you know, then sometimes he does hit base on each of them. So does anybody have any questions on them? Any of you guys with the new?
I have one request,
Okay,
the same one I had last year. 10th Avenue needs a speed bump. If you sit on the corner of 10th and the alley during ski season, you'll see I-70 coming down 10th Avenue and then blowing to the stop sign on Minor and down they go.
okay.
Where did you say?
10th Avenue needs a speed bump on it between Colorado and Minor Street.
They don't have any on Colorado Boulevard. I think it's because,
just Minor, huh?
yeah,
Minor Street. Yeah.
I think it's years ago. I remember it was a lot because of snow plowing. But
Yeah, but there's speed bumps all over the town, and the one guy said, "Oh, you can't plow them." Oh yeah, what about everybody else? What do you get out with the truck and shovel it or what?
now something like that, should they bring to council or do you pass it on?
Well, it would, I suppose, I don't know if there's I guess I can, like put it in a staff update, say that.
Yeah. I know before council, you'd go to council to request stuff like that, so more than coming from through here, but they've taken note of it.
Anyway, so, yeah.
Okay, new business. Okay, elected chair and vice chair. That's what I was saying, I might not be sitting here.
Commission,
So-
I just wanted to bring up that I really didn't know how this was gonna work. I've not been present for a meeting where a chair and vice chair, so I didn't know if it was like you
It's
just talk amongst yourselves and choose, and so I asked and nobody really had an answer for me, so I,
usually what they do is somebody makes a motion for the chair, they vote on it, and then they do the same for the vice chair,
excellent,
and then we move forward.
okay.
And if we have to shuffle seats, we shuffle seats at that point, so. Okay, so elect a chair.
I move that we elect Cindy
Yeah, me too.
chair. All in
Think this
favor? Aye.
Anyone
Okay, so slow down here.
Second was Reimer.
So you had a first and a
Motion.
second. Any discussion? Thank you, you guys.
Unanimous, except Cindy.
All in favor,
abstained, it
say,
seemed like.
opposed. Okay, now we need to elect a vice chair. Right now it's Uchi, right?
I think so.
Yes.
Thanks for
Yep.
Sounds right.
So I'll make,
for someone else.
No.
Stay there.
yeah, go for it.
Yes, please.
Make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion that we leave Uchi in as vice chair.
I second it. Doing a great job.
All those in favor, say yay. Those opposed? Okay.
Congratulations.
Perfect.
Girl power.
That's right.
Okay, the next item is the Virginia Canyon Mountain Park. And I believe on page 3, then there's a request for recommendations to council, do you want all 3 in one or 3 separate?
Well, the first about the adoption of an updated trail map, the master plan is required to have action.
So do,
so I would
maybe all
say-
3. Okay.
Yeah, it's, the second two really, are just more of recommendations, but the first one is required to have a vote and all of that, so. I might just go into that one first, talk a little bit about the need for it. Gary Moore, who's the head of Colorado Mountain Bike Association, is also on the call. And they've been doing a lot of the work within Virginia Canyon Mountain Park on all of the trails that are occurring. I'll just give a little brief background and then let Gary get into it as well, but I'll just share the screen quickly to kind of get a sense of anyone's listening in, but also to get a sense of what we have now and what's proposed later. You won't be able to see it great, but it is in the packet. So right now we have this current addendum 1 to the master plan, which was an update to the map. This was back in 2020. Since that period, we've a lot of work has been done. The initial 4-mile uphill trail for biking and hiking was completed. Also a loop trail for hikers at the summit of, I can't remember what the loop is called. Gary definitely has that information, but we're also finishing up our first downhill mountain bike only trails. And as that has all occurred, we've had quite a lot of opportunities that presented themselves to increase connectivity within the park, increase the total amount of trails, increase the connections and access points within the park. And so now we have this new proposed master plan trail map that contains, as you can kind of see, quite a lot more trails. A lot of these obviously concept and are not currently funded, but and in fact, a few of them on the east side kind of, you can't really tell very well from there, but the black kind of expert trails would rely on working with the adjacent landowner to the east on land swap sort of potential that they actually have approached the city about first. And so the real benefit of adopting this new master plan would be, or trail map to the master plan would be to, like I said, increase connectivity, increase the variety of terrain, but also put in place potential opportunities for more safety, an access trail that could be used for vehicles, for emergency access, maintenance and the like, more maybe intermediate terrain. And so with that, I'm just gonna, we are requesting that Planning Commission recommend council to adopt addendum 2 to the Virginia Canyon Mountain Park Master Plan to update the trail map for the park. City Council would formally adopt by resolution at next week's regular meeting, but they would need your recommendation first. So I'm gonna let Gary talk, anything you like, Gary, and then questions for me as well.
Yeah, hi, welcome, or thanks for having me. Definitely, Dylan, I think, did a really nice job in the packet of explaining where we're at. Can you all hear me well enough?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, really what we wanted to do was just keep Planning Commission, up to speed on changes and ideas, things that are being discussed and developed up on Virginia Canyon. As I'm not sure how many of you know that we kind of started this process in 2017, back when we first started kicking off the stakeholder meetings with Colorado Parks and Wildlife and all the, some business leaders and really started this process. And it's been a bit of a journey. Obviously, we're coming up on 7 years doing that. And so as things have evolved up there, we've gotten new land a couple of times that's allowed us to change the trails plan. The potential land swap there with the Young family on the east side on Gilson Gulch really would be beneficial. Something that definitely opens up additional territory and better routes and better planning. So, some of what is in this new concept is based on that, and it's based on some new ideas that have been brought forth by locals in Idaho Springs, people that have been, let's say, maybe unofficially building some trails in the area throughout the years that we've encouraged to come be part of a sanctioned public process and public planned trails that will be around. They really brought some great new concepts to the table, so we're enjoying having their input as well, and they are helping with the build. So we have always, tried to include as many stakeholders and as many parts of the community as possible in this planning. And sometimes that just leads you down new paths and opens up new ideas. So some of this is a reflection of that. One of the main things that is part of this plan that I think is itemized here separately on the agenda is the access trail that would go from the center of the park that we call the hub west out over the Buttermilk Peak and connecting to Virginia Canyon Road with an option to extend that even all the way down to Brothers, which would open up some parking. That was looked at in the original master planning process, again, 2017, 2018, 2019. The access on that side is challenging. It's not an easy transition from Virginia Canyon up onto the road. So that was originally decided that it wasn't feasible within our scope and our budget. But as we've gotten up there and started building trails and really getting to know, the every nook and cranny and understanding exactly, the strengths and weaknesses of the original plan and of the update, this plan has come up here in the last few months to create this access from the western side, which really, as Dylan said, it just makes a ton of sense. It gives us a route for rescue crews to go in, first responders, if there is that problem, which we hope that there isn't much of. But it does allow for the right equipment and for the ability to remove somebody on a litter or stretcher or some sort of opportunity like that if they're unable to make their own way out, and we don't have to call in life flight. So we've kind of gone back and looked at it with the builders that we have up there working on it now and completing what we're calling phase 2 trails. And they have all decided that we can do this, that we can make it. It won't be, perhaps the most optimal alignment, but it'll be workable, it'll be safe, and it'll be new access for the city, for maintenance teams, for trail builders, volunteers, people just wanting to enjoy the park. So, if we're able to add this to the plan, I think it has a lot of benefits, both short-term and long-term. It's something there is additional cost associated with it, but as Mayor Harmon said in Monday night's work session, this is he phrased this as an insurance plan that will pay dividends, over the full life of this project. As long as those trails are up there, we're gonna enjoy having this new access point. So really mostly just wanted to make myself available for any questions. If you all have had a chance to review the plans and the changes, if there's anything about what we have changed that you don't understand, I'm happy to speak to that. Any other questions you have about the project? We just really appreciate the opportunity to have this partnership with the city and to really put our best foot forward and create the best trail experiences that we can for Idaho Springs.
I had one question. So you guys have been working with emergency services then on like the trails also for the widths and stuff?
Yeah,
or
we
like
do. We know what those specifications
involved.
are, and we do. We've spoken with the police chief to this point. We always have. We always include the fire chief as well in these efforts. That's something that we still have on our list to do here this spring, now that we're getting some more trails open and we're getting closer to really seeing a change in the number of users that will be up there. But yeah, that's definitely something that we always want to make sure that, the city has the right equipment for the access that's being created. For example, in Blackhawk, in some parts of that trail system, the only way to get to it is via single track. And so we worked with their fire department chief on making sure that they had a two-wheel motorized vehicle that could tow a one-wheel litter that allows the whole thing to get down single track as well. So yeah, well, that's always part of these trail developments, is including first responders and making sure that we've got plans and that everything, the right equipment is in place and the right training is in place to make sure that everybody's able to do their jobs up there.
Okay. So you are working with them also?
Yes.
Okay. That's the only question I had.
I have a question. Can you please tell me a little bit more about what the original plan said about emergency access and why you are determining now that you need more than that? I mean, I know you touched a little bit, but I would like to hear a little more detail on that.
Sure. Yeah, the original plan, we didn't see any opportunities to create better, safer routes, more accommodating routes for larger equipment like a Gator, a side-by-side, any kind of four-wheel vehicle. We just didn't see where that was, and it was something that we weren't satisfied with, and we've been continuously looking for those opportunities to improve that part of the plan. I don't know how much you guys have seen the potential for the land swap on the east side, but the Young's dirt road that runs up Gilson Gulch is a big part of that, and why that's attractive to both the city and the project partners is to be able to have access on the east side and not just coming from the west side. So it's something that we always want to bake in. We can't always find a good solution for that. In this case, the original solution that was looked at and put aside as just being not tenable, that we couldn't sustainably and safely build a trail, particularly in that first couple hundred yards from Virginia Canyon Road up onto the grade where the rest of the trails reside. But we've just pushed harder on that, and we've got builders out there now. Machines are already in those areas, and they're very confident that they can solve those problems. So that's why we've brought it back up as a recommendation now, is that we do think that it's feasible, something that can be done, and really something that we've wanted to be included from the start.
Is
Was
that
that-
common practice? That you sometimes you don't find an emergency access, but later on you guys are able to develop it, or?
Oh, well, it's actually more common than not to not be able to create the kind of access that we would like to. Colorado's terrain is just very challenging. So it's most of the time we are not creating the kind of access that we would like to be able to, and you just kind of have to make the best of it. The Floyd Hill trail system, for example, there was an old wagon road that went up through there, some of that through private property, and some on county land, that is being utilized for this, but that again only reaches the front half of the parcel. The back half of the parcel is only accessed by single track. And that's something that we're also working with Jefferson County and Clear Creek County on, trying to create better access on the north side of Floyd Hill coming up from Highway 6. I don't know that we will get to the point where we could bring in rescue vehicles that way, but we can certainly create better access from that side. So yeah, it's always, all these trails projects are sort of always in development, if you will. We're rarely done. And always looking for ways to improve the experience, improve the safety, reduce impacts on wildlife, making the trails more sustainable and enjoyable. It's pretty much a constant evolution for every trail system.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you want a motion on the first one then? Do it that way? The recommendation to council?
I have another question. Nobody else has one. So about the, what's the name of that thing? Right here.
I don't think we're on that one yet.
Oh, we're just doing, okay, never mind then.
Yeah, I was
That's all I
gonna
have.
briefly talk about.
Yeah, go
We've
ahead.
already
Forget about that.
talked
All
about
right.
emergency access, but
Right.
Yeah, we'll go
So
through
that's
this.
all I have for that section.
I think that's the third one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so a motion on the first recommendation to adopt addendum 2. It's on page 3.
Well,
Oh, we got it, you highlighted it. I can't see it if I don't.
want me to go ahead?
Sure.
Planning Commission recommends that council adopt addendum 2 to the Virginia Canyon Mountain Park Master Plan to update the trail map proposed for the park. Formal approval will be by resolution at the city council meeting on March 11th.
Okay, do we have a second? Do you want roll call?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, roll call.
Jefferson Lynch.
Here.
Yes.
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 Excuse me.
Ursula Kuzlowski.
Yes.
Chuck Howard.
Yes.
Don Reiner.
Yes.
Cindy Olsen.
Yes.
And I think for the last two, unless Dylan, I don't know much about this, but if these last two are connected, I think you could probably group them into the same motion.
Okay.
And even so far as to say, like, I move to recommend that council authorize the bullet points 2 and 3 of the staff request in the staff memo.
Perfect.
I think it would be very simple.
Okay.
okay, so yeah, on the first of those two, the first is that Comba and city staff are requesting that council authorize the construction of that 5 to 6 foot wide access trail off the Virginia Canyon Road. Gary mentioned all of the benefits of that, and the approximate cost is about $49,000. And that's sort of outside of the existing contract for work in Buchanan, but it would be pretty easy to get done as part of this phase 2, given that the crews are still on site with all their equipment. On the second one, it's like a proposed wooden corkscrew trestle feature that's included in the report. The key feature to this one, and I might let Gary talk a little more nuanced about it, but it does improve safety at that portion of the park by slowing riders on the downhill portion down before they get back to intersection with other trails and trailheads. And it is also sort of just a sort of iconic feature that everyone will see as they enter the park. I don't know, Gary, anything you want to add?
I know there's one omission in the materials list. They didn't allow for any kind of concrete. They're supposed to go in, and the form tubes that they usually use to set it. And then they're gonna make this thing out of pressure treated wood or regular pine, any idea?
So there's no concrete because it's not going in the ground. We have our builders have a way of using dead men essentially and then building up from there. So it's primarily the weight of the structure that keeps it in place. It becomes very, very heavy. It's not going to go anywhere. So there's no need to do that additional land disturbance and digging and adding of concrete and that sort of thing. The lumber that we are using has been a combination of rough hewn lumber purchased nearby and lumber that we are felling and milling on site. So we're actually using some of the timber from the site with a small portable mill. And then both of those are being hand treated. We're actually painting on the chemicals to preserve the wood.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Overall, I think Dylan nailed it in terms of this structure itself. The Rosa Gulch. If you picture yourself standing there on the upper landing, well, they call it the lower landing, the upper bench for the lower landing there next to the Argo, looking up Rosa Gulch. It's extremely steep, and that of course is part of the excitement for mountain bikers. But the way that trail comes down through Rosa Gulch, there's a considerable amount of speed, and that single track finishes onto the double track right where the trail system starts. So there will be people that are just starting their journey or ending their journey, getting ready to, they're standing at the kiosk reading the maps. And we're just looking for a way to slow the bikes down before they run into bi-directional multi-use traffic and, people and dogs and kids and all the things that are out on trail systems. So this feature really is not, it looks kind of fantastical when you look at the drawing of it, but it is the least exciting part of the journey for the bikes. We put them up on that, coming off of the grade to the left onto the wood, and just bringing the grade of the trail down, slowing the rider down because of the tightness of the corner, so that they exit that feature going, quite a bit slower than what they would if they were just bombing down, coming out the dirt. But it's also in a place where it will be an iconic feature, like Dylan said. You'll be able to see it as you enter the trail system. You'll be able to see it as you mount the gondola, provided, when we have that in place. It would just be kind of and again, we're doing all of these wood features in a way where it's kind of the architecture of the wood we're using, the protectant we're using is all meant to make it blend in with the historic mining ruins that are there. You'll remember that there is a mine entrance right there to the left that would be just south of where this feature will be. So everything that we're doing up there is really meant to, as much as possible, look like, it's been there as long as the other mining relics that are still up there. So this is less of a feature for the riders and more of a speed bump. But the idea again is just to slow people down, keep everybody safe, and reduce conflicts in that part of the trail system, which will be, one of the busiest areas on the trail system.
So to me, it looked like it was gonna be huge, big, like you said, it looked pretty cool, like
Yeah.
this is gonna be a cool feature. So where you go into the mine, it's gonna be up above that.
Yeah,
You're
if you're going up the kind of the double track and the mine entrance is there to your left,
Right,
then you'll be
okay,
looking straight ahead at this feature.
okay, I was wondering where this is, I was thinking it was coming out down on the road, but no.
No,
it's
not
up.
that far down. Do you know where the single track hiking trail starts now?
Yep.
It's right across from the mine entrance.
Yep.
That whole area. So that's kind of just down from that, the flat areas where we expect to put the kiosk in and to keep people out of the flow of traffic there. So they've got time to stand and review the map and the rules and any other guidance without being in the flow of traffic. But once you get onto that double track, you're kind of funneled at that point. It's still double track, but it is funneled because you've got grade on both sides. And so we didn't want, to have this sort of fish in a barrel effect with riders coming down at high speeds. So that was the primary idea. And again, it does add some eye candy, an iconic feature for the trail system, something that I'm sure will be photographed quite a bit.
So
Just
is
not gonna be as
it,
much fun to ride as it looks.
more to add?
No, go ahead.
Anybody else? Pretty cool. So the exit that you're talking right now, the plans as they are right now without this, is an unacceptable safety issue, and that's why we have to do this?
It's less than optimal. It's what words would I use for that? I don't know that it would be entirely unacceptable. I think that might be strong. But it's highly advised to find a way to mitigate that while we can and before we start generating, at the very least, user conflicts, people getting upset with each other, at the worst, injuries. I think that it really is a smart move to, because again, the bikes aren't going to realize where they are in relation to sort of entering back into multi-use and bidirectional areas until they're on it, right? They're going to come out of another feature and then they're just right there. And we just think rather than relying on people's better angels, that it's best to go ahead and put something in that, does enhance the system and kind of, forces the solution, if you will. A lot of times, when we get into different problems that we're solving with trail systems, the first thing that we do is reach for a rule or a sign or something that says slow down, or such. And what we've found is that when we can bake into the planning of a trail system inherent behaviors that don't have to be preached or explained or shouted, it just works better. If we put up a sign that says slow down, like you would see entering a harbor maybe or something, like no wake zone, right? Slow down at this area. You just, unfortunately, we can't rely on the general public to observe those signs and to change their behavior. They're going to be, very pumped, very full of adrenaline coming down this hill at a high rate of speed. Very excited, very happy, excited to go back up again. And I think that if we can just sort of force the behavior that is safest and makes for a better experience for everybody, not just mountain bikers, I think that's worth pursuing when we can.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Well, the motion that we adopt, that's 3.
Okay, you need to
Very good.
read it or combined bullet points.
Let me read yours. The last 2, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you can refer to it as the bullet points 2 and 3 and refer them to council. Recommend to
I
council.
recommend that we refer these to council, addendums 2 and 3. And well, I guess that's all there is to it. Make sense?
Well, it's this one and this one.
Okay. Authorize amendment to existing contract for work to allow for construction of approximately 3,000 foot long, 6 foot wide emergency and service access trail connecting Virginia Canyon Road to the interior of the VCMP at a cost of approximately $49,000. And staff requests at the cost of approximately $21,000, which is the wooden corkscrew exit ramp to slow the bikers down coming down the mountain. And I make a motion we approve those.
Is that good? Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Jefferson,
Yes.
Ursula Cruz-Leguy, Chuck Howard,
Yes.
Don Reimer,
Yes,
Chair Cindy Olson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Looks cool. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I just got a little scared when he's like, oh, usually on the go design, I'm like, how much more money is this gonna be? 70,000 already.
Yeah.
Is that how usually things go?
Oh, yeah. Change
Yes.
orders and, yeah.
I mean, it's,
Okay,
do we get
the
to give him a limit?
next.
Okay, we can have discussion right now, though, right?
Nope, we're done.
Go with that.
Whatever.
Now we're moving on.
The next item is the annexation of a portion of I-70 right of way through the city of Idaho Springs.
Okay, so I pulled up on the screen this overview annexation map of what's being proposed. This request for annexation is being requested by the city as the applicant. It's approximately 100 acres of right of way that contains I-70, and you know, if you look closely at this, you'll see that a portion of right of way is already incorporated into the city and annexed. And so what this proposal would do is annex the additional portions of right of way for the highway to the east side of the city and to the west, which would incorporate the exit 239 interchange, which currently is out of city limits, as well as approximately another 600 feet west linearly, including the Stanley Road frontage, which the city would take over maintenance of. The proposal is to leave the parcels unzoned with no zoning, and while our code technically says that any parcels to be annexed are zones, Carmen, our city attorney, has said that because it's right of way and that's its only use, as with other city streets, as with the currently annexed parcel of right of way, we don't actually have to zone it. So the proposal is to keep these unzoned. The planning commission goal would be to take action to recommend approval or denial. City council would then take action through resolution to accept the petition and then pass an ordinance annexing the parcels. I'll briefly go through criteria for approval because they are pretty key. First is compliance with the comprehensive plan. We don't specifically contemplate uses for these parcels, but we do talk about safety of the I-70 corridor, efficiency of the corridor, and we believe annexing these parcels does that because right now there's kind of some strange jurisdictional issues with the city's police departments. You know, as you can imagine, they respond to a lot of calls along the corridor, and ensuring that everything is within city limits and there aren't these kind of quasi enclaves makes their jobs a lot easier, I think. And there's no questions if they pull someone over and they say, well, we're out, this isn't your jurisdiction, things like that. So clarifies that, clears it up. It also talks about the goal of the comprehensive plan being providing net long-term benefits to the community. In that sense, same, you know, police enforcement duties. Also, by annexing a portion of property west of the city, it expands our continuity, so we could potentially annex further west in the future if that benefits the city. We also have a 3-mile plan, which is required by state to talk about issues that should be addressed prior to considering annexation of parcels in Idaho Springs, also creating criteria to be considered and priorities. And so we actually probably need to update that in the near future, but as it stands now, 3-mile plan talks about broadening housing types, which this doesn't directly do, but it does extend the boundaries of the city westward, which could have development impacts. It talks about whether there's enough buildable land, whether it can be served by utilities, whether it can strengthen the economy of Idaho Springs. You know, given that this is highway right of way, there's really no development proposed other than highway related development, but you know, kind of the two primary purposes of law enforcement, expanding the boundaries of the city west, achieve those goals. Overall, let's see, during this, we didn't get any referral comments or any concerns, including from the county, who will be annexing the land from. So I will just jump into my recommendation, which is that Planning Commission recommend approval to City Council the annexation, and that Planning Commission recommend that the parcels remain unzoned to mirror the portion of I-70 right of way already incorporated into city limits. So that's it. Do you have any questions?
I'm confused on what park this is, just out of curiosity. It's,
So you mean the part that's already,
Stanley Road,
right,
and my houses are right here.
okay. Well, that's why I was wondering, do you know about this?
No, this is the first.
So that's why I'm.
I own two houses on Stanley Road as well as the claims.
Mhm.
And I'm interested in where your, how should I say it, annexation, how far from the center line of Stanley Road does that go to the south?
well, it would go to the edge of right of way of that road, which is about all the information I have. I don't actually know how far from edge of roadway to, edge of right of way,
It must
what that
be
distance
just-
is.
To the arrows, wouldn't it be?
It is,
Yeah,
but I wonder where the arrows are. See, this just says service road right of way.
Right, so go to edge of right of way, which would also functionally be edge of property lines, but I don't know how far the edge of the road is from the edge of the right of way. Normally, a right of way is approximately 50 feet. I don't know how wide Stanley Road is.
So right now it's the county's property anyway, but they're,
So yeah, we
It
wouldn't
doesn't
be annexing
affect-
any private property. It's
oh,
all
they're just affecting the road. Okay.
publicly owned, either county or, well, not county owned, it's all.
So how far up is this going?
It's approximately
God, these things keep turning.
600 to 700 feet from the current edge of the city's limits,
So this is about Stanley.
which if you look at
Oh,
the,
great.
like the, what's shown on the screen now, the portion, it's like a kind of a triangular cutout here, like the edge of right of way is essentially right before you drive onto I-70 Northwest. Like that apron, I guess, is not included in the city right now. And so from that point, it's about 700 feet. It's kind of a arbitrary boundary in some ways. So like for maintenance purposes, like there's not like a clear demarcation of what that would be, but it does include like that area where that like pedestrian bridge is directly west of 239, kind of that end of the greenway.
So are you in city limits or not? No, because I'm seeing the city limit here, so it extends out past that.
Yeah.
For the road, okay. Interesting. I mean, I don't, like you said, it's not affecting the property owners at all.
Right.
It's just, and then as far as maintaining it, what do they mean? Instead of the county plowing after the intersection there, it goes up a ways instead of the county?
Yeah, essentially, we would, as a city, officially take over that plow duties, and also if there's potholes or something like that, we'd maintain that road up to the edge of city limits.
So where they come off the interstate and everything there too?
Yeah, that would be incorporated now into the city.
Yeah, no, I'm just
So-
thinking, I take the frontage road a lot, so I'm just thinking out
So yeah,
loud.
that would definitely be city responsibility, where it's Stanley, like the Stanley Road line is probably, you know, again, I can't say exactly what that line looks like, it's, you know, imaginary, but yeah, the city has agreed to take all that up.
Interesting, so the county just stops right there and,
Yeah, it's kind of, you know,
It's kind of
I suppose there's other places that already have, you know, like somewhere up Virginia Canyon Road, it's the same thing.
just
And
stops all.
like there's a sign somewhere, there's one sign that's covered in stickers right now, but it says city limits theoretically, and technically speaking, we're supposed to plow up to that, and then there's a small portion that's private, like out of the city, that's like an enclave, and you go back into the city briefly, you go out of it again. So,
So I'll make a motion to recommended, I'll make a motion to recommend the city council, the annexation of the proposed parcels and that the parcels remain unzoned to near the portion of I-70 row that is already incorporated into city limits.
Okay, a second,
I'll second it.
discussion. Okay, roll call,
Jefferson,
Yes.
Ursula, Kusuma.
Yes.
Chuck Howard,
Yes.
Don Reimer,
Yes.
Chair Cindy Olsen.
yes.
And you would think the property owners would have been notified. Should have at least been notified.
Yeah. We should have said that in comments. Okay,
Doesn't matter. They know better.
okay, anything else before the commission, if anything?
There will be required public notice before council. Per code for an annexation.
Oh, so maybe that's when they're notified.
The public notice isn't required for the planning commission technically, but it's required for the public hearing of
Before the
council, and so. We're still a little ways out of that because of some procedural things and
Okay,
calendar things and all that, so that will occur per. It has not happened yet.
when is that going to council?
Well, so we need to have, so Andy, city administrator is working with CDOT because they technically did not sign the annexation petition. And so first step in the process is for council to pass a resolution accepting the petition officially, and then we can schedule it for public hearing. So it won't sort of continue until that occurs.
I guess my thought is, why did it come to us then first yet already? Before, if the property owners weren't notified, if there was no notification and it hasn't even been agreed upon between annexation with CDOT and stuff, why did we, or the county,
Well,
we already saw this?
it has been agreed upon with CDOT. It's they provided their signed application form, they provided their letters, all of that. It's a procedural. They need to sign this particular document to meet revised statutes. We asked that same question to Carmen, and she said that based on how Colorado revised statutes are written, planning commission is a recommending board rather than an actionable board
Right.
for an annexation, and so taking that ahead of the other processes would be appropriate.
I don't know if I agree with all that.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that. Does
I
it
guess it-
matter? Can we choose to not do that? Cause I feel like kind of weird, like, okay, this one hasn't even been officially presented and then we're already having opinions about it. I don't feel kind of weird about it.
Yeah, my thought on it too is, I'm a believer in, we do the work here and we make the recommendations to council, and they should support the recommendations that we give them, because we're the ones doing the homework, doing the work and stuff on it, and then that's the final approval. But if we don't have all the facts in front of us, and then it's given to them, you could end up with two different, we may approve it and then they may not. Where I always look at it as the one should be supporting the others. But that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I think we should be given all the facts before it goes to council. Anyway. Anyone else? Okay,
Can we request that, at least we know that something is kind of still pending, before we vote or something?
well, they can go to the, I mean, anybody has the opportunity to go to the council now, because it'll be a public hearing. So, I mean, it's not like our decision is the final, it's just we made a recommendation to council now
I
that
know,
we
I know, I'm
approved it.
talking on a
We're-
general,
Oh,
no
for a
specific
different
place.
situation.
Yeah, for the next time, like, is this something that we can request or not?
We haven't had it happen this way before.
Yeah, and
So,
never, that's why it's familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can request it, yeah,
Yeah.
It almost sounds like, I don't know, I haven't talked to Carr much about this, but it almost sounds just like this was a good opportunity to kind of get this taken care of because,
keep it moving, yeah.
yeah,
Well, and
Which I
this,
tend to agree with that too, it just, we
And-
just
and-
hadn't done it like this before.
we did kind of have everything scheduled already before the signature of the petition kind of issue came up. So in a perfect world, we would have been going to council for the resolution like Monday. But because of that sort of oversight, I guess, it got pushed back probably 1 to 2 meetings, which then delays public notice and all of that, so. I would say, in a perfect world, that would not have happened, and then, all of the public notices for council hearing and all that would have happened, and we'd be well on our way. But, yeah, no, it's a great point to mention something like that in the future, if there's a timing issue that comes up or a procedural thing that happens that impacts, the future process.
Okay, any other items? Did you have anything else?
I have a request. Since I'm a vice president and I am a little confused about the procedures, Nick, can you help me make sure I understand this? I know we're supposed to have discussion after vote,
After the second motion.
after the second motion,
after,
before we do roll call.
yes.
Once we do roll call, we cannot discuss anymore.
I mean,
You can, but
you
it doesn't
can, but
affect the decision.
yeah, the vote's already happened,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, but we can still have a decision and could we send a comment to city council as well, or no?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Like a condition or something?
No, not a condition, nothing with the intention to modify the motion that has been made already, but I don't know, a comment to the
I
city
think-
council, but maybe,
You could, I think there's a couple ways you could approach it.
uh-huh,
You could go to public comment
that's what I was thinking.
and say, hey, I'm a
Yeah,
commissioner,
that's
I
what
have
you-
these comments. You could email, I guess, Wonder,
Mhm,
and she could put your comments in the packet.
okay,
I think.
and
those
that
are
will be
probably-
as a resident, no, as a planning commission person.
I think you could do it in either capacity.
Okay.
I think it just depends on the kind of content of the message and the message you're trying to send.
Mhm.
So it depends. I mean, if you're,
Am I being friendly or not?
yeah, no, just, like if you're saying
Yeah, I
something
get it.
in your capacity, like versus more generally as a citizen, I guess it's about like
Yeah, no,
how
I
specific
understand.
the comment is.
Mhm. Cool, okay, so discussion after second motion, the roll call, and we can have discussion again if we want to, but it's not gonna modify anything we said,
Yeah,
okay?
I think one thing we have to keep in mind when we do the meetings, just, from looking at it from the chair, and if you had to do a meeting, you do have to stick to the agenda. It's too bad the council training they had a week ago that, some of the commissioners could have gone to it and gone through the training session. It was the same as council. I think you were there, weren't you?
Yeah.
But anyway, a lot of times when you have the motions, the ordinances in front of you, you've had it in your packet, you've read through it. When you have a lot of the questions for detail, clarification, or thinking that maybe it should be this way, I think it's better to prepare ahead of time get with Dylan, work out those things, or Wonder, not so much Nick because we have to pay him.
Yeah.
So no, you do, you go through Dylan.
Yeah, you know, if you have any questions.
Yeah, where we're not
Yeah, I've done that in
consuming,
the past.
yeah, where we're not consuming the discussion and all of a sudden debating everything after somebody's made a motion in a second. For clarification, for discussion, or all of a sudden you want to tweak something, that's the time to do it. But if you're really looking for clarification on what the meaning of this is, you know, is this the way Colorado does it? Is this the way we should be doing? I think be prepared before and have those discussions with Dylan. And not so much amongst us, because then we violate sunshine laws if it's over 3 people and we're discussing it. So we can't get 3 of us together and discuss it. But Dylan's a great resource, even Wonder and Jonathan. But don't call Nick. Because then his billable hours.
I got a lot going on already.
Okay, another question? No? Nope,
You
okay.
can't call me if you really want to.
No, I
I just remember those things from council. Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting for Wednesday, March 6th, 2024, and it is, I don't know what time it is.
7:07.
Oh, look at that. Like number 5.
I have also seen a couple of, like webinar type training things pop up recently. Like, I was mentioning Jefferson, there's one about, like defensible decision making